Crimson Desert is nearly upon us, and we couldn't be more delighted to get closer to playing a game that we've been waiting for quite eagerly. We shared our disappointments when it was delayed from its 2025 release, but we also hoped that the few extra months would allow for further refinements on what was already looking like a game that could have us under its spell from the get-go. Well, it certainly looks that way as the developers have been showcasing gameplay and sharing more information on what the massive title is bringing to the table, with previous showcases focusing on combat and exploration, as well as the reveal of additional playable characters. It's time to take a look at the stage upon which the entire adventure unfolds: the land of Pywell. Any open world is only as good as the stuff you get to do in it, and Crimson Desert is no exception. Fortunately, Pywell seems to have no shortage of interesting activities, and might even have a few surprises waiting to be discovered as we guide Klyff along his journey. Without further ado, let's dive into all the new information that we have about how we're going to spend our time as Klyff. One, theme-based puzzles. We already know that Pywell is split up into 5 main areas, each of which comes with its own distinct theme. We were quite intrigued to know that one of these areas is focused on technological marvels, and is probably where we'll be heading to first, as we're quite fascinated by the mech that was revealed in earlier showcases. But equally fascinating is the fact that you're going to find puzzles and obstacles that match the area's expertise, and we'll have to engage with them on their terms. That's a huge win for immersive gaming, and could be the perfect way to offset the fatigue that can often derail even the best open-world experiences. 2. Discover daily life in Pywell. The battles you're certain to face are not the only thing in Pywell worthy of your attention. The Greymanes are only a part of a more complete whole, after all. The chance to discover more of the land through villages, towns, and cities is there for the taking, and it's looking like they're an integral part of your journey in the game. Klyff can choose to help Pywell's residents by clearing out bandit camps, running rescue missions, completing deliveries, and even tracking down missing persons. We're stoked at the chance to play the hero no matter how trivial the objective may be. 3. Keep your ear to the ground. While you're in any of the settlements that you find on your journey, it's a good idea to listen for rumors of activity in other parts of the world, leading you to new discoveries and potentially better gear for Klyff to take on Pywell's many threats and his sworn enemies, the Black Bears. It's going to be interesting to see how this mechanic works in the game, but we're quite optimistic about it leading us to more reasons to let the main story take the back seat as we explore Pywell in its entirety. 4. There's a fight club. Sort of. One of the more interesting things we noticed in the showcase was Klyff throwing down with one of the settlement's denizens, weapons discarded in favor of fists. It looks a lot like an organized fighting ring, and we're all for it, as it gives us the chance to show off our combat skills. We know we're not really supposed to talk about it, but it's certainly looking like Crimson Desert has its own take on Fight Club. 5. Hidden settlements with unique stories. Aside from the run-of-the-mill settlements, the developers were quite excited about unique ones that you can happen along as you wander Pywell's vast expanses. There are unique stories to find at these locations, and they could serve to flesh out the land's history and lore, and even give us a few unique insights into how its residents view and react to the world around them. That's a welcome addition to any massive open world, and we're glad to see that Klyff's fight against the Black Bears isn't the only thing worth witnessing in the game. 6. Blacksmiths and tailors. It isn't an RPG if you don't get to choose weapons and gear for your heroes, isn't it? Thankfully, the settlements you come across house blacksmiths and tailors for your weapons and armor respectively. We're expecting each one to have a varying selection of gear that matches with the wider area's specialties. Picking favorites could be quite a challenge, although if you're like us, you're going to be mixing and matching your loadouts according to the situation that you're preparing to face. 7. The laws of the land apply to you. If you are planning to indulge Klyff's mercenary side, you might want to be careful when you're in settlements where there are guards, as illegal actions are going to cause them to give chase, and perhaps even jail you if your indiscretion's warranted. The guards are sure to be tough contenders, and picking a fight with them might not always be a great choice if you're planning to play Klyff as someone with a low regard for Pywell's legal system. We're expecting that being a model citizen is better for his health in the long run. 8. Many ways to get what you need. Cool things in Pywell don't come cheap, and you're going to want to maintain a healthy stock of valuable resources as you make your way across the land. Fortunately, hunting, fishing, mining, and other ways to gather resources are all options for you to pursue if you find yourself in need of materials for gear or upgrades or general trading. Resource gathering could be a great way to pass a few relaxing hours in the game, and paying attention to your inventory could mean that you're never lacking for what you need when you spot a weapon or piece of gear that you fancy. 9. Mixing and matching. There's a crafting system, and alchemy is the way to use it. Klyff is going to find recipes for useful items that let him craft them on the fly in case you find yourself too far away from civilization in Pywell, cool traversal mechanics notwithstanding. It could pay to chase down as many of those alchemy recipes as you can in order to be able to craft the things that you need at will, provided you have the resources for them. You could also craft dyes for your armor and give your character a unique look. More on that in a moment. 10. Slay in style. Aside from the ability to dye your gear, you can also switch out hairstyles, color your character's hair, give them some cool designs and the like to make your version of each one truly unique. It's always a welcome touch, and the glimpses that we got of the customization system seems like it does have an extensive set of options, although your character's facial models are fixed and can't be tweaked to your liking. 11. Shop for resources you need. If the thought of chasing down resources fills you with dread, you'll be happy to know that any settlement in Pywell has its share of vendors who are more than willing to open the doors to you should your need for resources arise. Although dropping in-game cash on items might limit you from buying other cool stuff as and when you see it, looking at a vendor's stores as you're passing by might save you the time that you would spend farming resources, letting you take on other activities that are more interesting to you. 12. The Greymane Base. Klyff and the remaining Greymanes set up shop on an empty stretch of land in the aftermath of their defeat at the hands of the Black Bears. Although it's a modest base of operations to begin with, you get to invest in it to improve its functionalities and make it a safe haven for your fellow comrades as you seek to restore your faction to its former glory and take the fight to the Black Bears. It's always good to have a place to call home for any adventurer, and we're glad Klyff gets to kick back from time to time in the company of trusted friends. 13. Rebuilding the Greymanes one member at a time. Speaking of trusted friends, the Greymanes are far from done after their fight against the Black Bears, and more of them are going to find their way to your camp as the story goes on, and perhaps even need rescuing in the event that they've been captured, although nothing has been confirmed on that front. What's more, those new additions to your base are going to be a crucial part of your effort to rebuild the factions from the ground up over the course of the story, which leads us to our next interesting feature. 14. Dispatch Greymanes on operations. Your Greymane buddies are going to look to you to lead them, and you have the option to send some of them along on missions to highly guarded areas, allowing them to clear out a few enemies and make things easier for you when you choose to visit them. This is something we always enjoy when it's in a game, and we're hoping to see more of this interesting mechanic in the run-up to Crimson Desert's final release. 15. Cultivate resources. If farming resources out in the open world isn't your thing, and if your take on Klyff has him quite tight-fisted when it comes to your hard-earned money, the Greymane base lets you cultivate resources you need as a part of building it up to be a settlement worth its salt in Pywell. Turns out, war isn't Klyff's only specialty, and it's always nice to see our characters having hobbies that let them unwind after a long day of slashing and stabbing. And that's a wrap on everything you need to know about Pywell, and the things you get to do in it during your time with Crimson Desert. For our part, we think we're looking at a world that can have us spending hours in it without ever wanting to leave. And that's always a good thing for an action-adventure RPG. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.